this is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like, Don't mistake the new me for the old me. They can't stop me now, I'm with the home team. No beginner, I'm a winner. Took a couple losses, now I'm cooking, let me simmer. Yeah, tunnel vision, all I see is win, 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 win. This my city section where you been. We move faster alone, but go further together. We can weather any weather forever. A dream team, I done seen things. Confidence is on 100,000. I got family for miles, running up the mileage. Made it through some trials and some tribulations. Now me and the team out here celebrating, yeah. This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like, Forget the things you probably thought you knew. A new day is approaching, turn the gray skies into blue. I grew up on these same blocks, school of hard knocks. Had to get it on a hard time, took the hard shots, but we made it. Anticipated, highly decorated. The whole team is winning, celebrated. The victory is all mine, and everything is alright. And you know how to see things, confidence is on 100,000. I got family for miles, running up the mileage. Made it through some trials and some tribulations. Now me and the team out here celebrating, yeah. This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like,
Yo, what's up, y'all? Yo, what up, though? They tried to stop us, y'all. They tried to stop us, but they can't, man. Lord have mercy. What a disaster, man. So, you guys know I talked about going live today on this channel to do a Dan Campbell presser reaction. So, let me tell you a real quick story what happened. So I use a software, and that software is called vMix. And every so often, your software will update. It's like your phone. And every software updates. Your browser updates, everything electronic updates, right, over the internet. So I'm setting up for the show. I hit update. Usually I'll do it, it's not a big deal. I'll update to the current version. So I set up the show. I put the thumbnail in. I do all that. Change the date, put the Detroit Lions spiked Kool-Aid at the bottom. And I'm like, yeah, it takes about 5 minutes. So this was about 10 minutes before the show was supposed to start. So I hit update software, get the latest version. And right now it's sitting at the bottom of my computer. It tells you update, you click on it, you go through the process. So it updates. And I get a message like that I've never seen before. So I'm like, that's weird. So I'm like, all right, well, we'll proceed with the show. Turns out it don't work. It doesn't work. So I had to I tried to do some quick research to find out how can I go back to the latest version or the most recent, the previous version. And I went back. So I went to their website, found the previous version. I go back, but it's so far back. It didn't have any of my current overlays. Like I made so many overlays. Like check this out, y'all. I'm gonna show y'all some behind the scenes right now, right? So let's say I'm talking about the Pistons. If I'm talking about the Pistons, I'll switch to this scene here. If I'm talking about the NFL, I'll switch to this scene here. All of this stuff was gone. All of it was gone. So I'm like, dog, it was all gone. It was there. Some of the stuff was there, but excuse me, a lot of the recent stuff wasn't there. I'm like, dog. So I'm freaking out. And I'm like, yo, because I paid for this, right? So I look online and I'm like, man, what the heck? So anyway, I found a website that was trustworthy. I go back and I download the previous version of the software that I'm using. It took 5-10 minutes, but here we are. We are back like we never left. But they got it. The update was released today. And this is I've been using this software for 5 years. And this is the first time that they've made an update that has not worked. Nothing works. My camera's gone. Everything is gone. So that's what happened. And this is how, this is my bread and butter right here. If I can't run my mouth, what am I going to do? Right. So I'm like, y'all tripping. So anyway, oh, Lord have mercy. Thank you so much what's up, Rufus? We got Juan in the building. Shout out to Lion Syndicate, Spencer, Will I Am. We got Eagle in the building as well. What up? Danny, D8. We got Black Jones. What up, though? Get ready for TJ Watt to Detroit Talks. Hey, do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, man. We gonna get into it today. I just figured out my game and audio issues. Hey, that's what's up, bro. My son is trying to he wants to get into streaming and, kind of. I don't know if he really wants to get into it, but we were talking about capture cards and such. And he was talking about that there's a lag between him inputting, what he does on the controller and when it goes through the capture card. And I don't know if that's an OBS thing or what, man. So we trying to figure that out. Let me see. So Inferno said, what up, Doe? Angry at you. Okay, what's going on, man? What's going on? What's happening? What's going on? Y'all act like 2026 not gonna happen. Years we get Tate, maybe Miller. Sucks you're having software problems. Yeah. It's good now. It's good. All right. So let's talk about the Dolphins. So Will, I appreciate your I admire your positivity. But if y'all don't know, the Lions hired Chris Grier, and I really don't see the benefit of this move. I don't think that it is. Well, I see a potential benefit. I don't think it's anything to get excited about, to keep it a buck. I'm kind of trying to figure out, why did they do it? It's definitely not to replace Brad Holmes. It's definitely not to do that. Is it to ease up? Is it to take some pressure off Brad Holmes? Is it because Chris Grier just got fired? He got fired he was the Miami Dolphins coach or general manager when they had, back in 2021, he is the general manager that took Tua. He is the general manager that had 3 first-round picks in the 2020 draft or whatever it was, and I don't know how many are on the team. He is the general manager that traded for Bradley Chubb, right? He is that guy. So the dude got fired. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying if you get fired, you whack. Mike McDaniel got fired, but you know what I'm saying? Like, so you can get fired and still be valuable. Mike Vrabel was fired, right? Robert Saleh was fired. But the thing about it is Chris Grier, I remember the Miami Dolphins syndicate guys, and they were laying into him. They were like, they hate this dude, yada, yada, yada. And the first thing that I thought of when I saw them, that we hired him, was those guys. So to me, I don't think it's a big deal. I'm more interested in why he is here. Why is he here? It's not to replace anybody. Is it because Holmes needs help? Is that why? Is that why he's here? Let me see. Let's go get Max. You have a point. Let me see. Pace says you have a point. What did Pace say? What up, Bobby? What's good with you, man? Okay. Let me see. What did Pace say? Thoughts on the Bears moving to Indiana? Hey, we do not care. I think that's funny. Like, Indiana about to have 2 football teams, so that's going to be funny. That is going to be funny. I have one theory. Not sure if I should say it. Okay, Pierce. I mean, shoot. I would say it. I mean, unless you think it's going to cause something. Was Kendrick Law set up to be our return guy? Probably. He was probably there. He can be good at trading wide receiver for talent. So, okay. All right. So that could be why. It could be why. I mean, he's pulled off some decent trades. But, okay, here's what I want to know. All right, so let's go straight into it, bro. Let's go straight into it. Yo, I got the headphones on, man, because we about to bring in a press conference from Dan Campbell from yesterday. But we didn't get on. We haven't been on all week, and we're going to talk about the Chris Grier hiring. What does it mean for the Detroit Lions? Why did the Detroit Lions do it? Now, as a general manager, the guy was, he had some hits, he had some misses, but he inevitably got fired by the Miami Dolphins. I think he was the Dolphins general manager for 10 years. And what's ironic is when we talk about Les Snead, and it took Les Snead 10 years to win a Super Bowl with the Rams. It took Chris Grier 10 years to get fired, right? Brad Holmes is right in the middle of that. He's literally in the middle of, he can go either way, or he can stay in the middle. Right now, I think Brad is in the middle. If I had to lean in one direction, I am going to kind of lean toward not getting fired, but not being renewed after year 7. So Brad Holmes is right in the middle. But we bring in former Miami Dolphins general manager, recently fired, which, it's if somebody get fired, you got two ways to look at it. You got the Robert Salah, where you got the Mike Vrabel. I think he was fired as well from the Tennessee Titans. You got those guys. And you wonder, okay, why did this happen? Right? The Jets, dysfunctional organization. Tennessee was a good team when he was there early. Then they did what Tennessee does. You got those guys who get fired. Guys who really, you wonder why they got fired. Then you got guys that you 100% know why they were fired. And Chris Grier is one of those guys. Now, he made some bonehead picks. He made some decent picks. But he was brought in. Why was he brought in? That's the question that I have. Why was Chris Grier brought into Detroit? He's not going to replace anybody because, to be honest, I'd rather have Brad Holmes than Chris Grier. But why was Chris Grier brought in? Was he brought in because Brad Holmes needs some help in pulling off blockbuster moves? Because I believe, I can't remember, I know it happened this week. I don't remember which one was first, the Myles Garrett stuff or the Chris Grier stuff. Why was Chris Grier brought in to Detroit? Was it to take some pressure off Brad, take some responsibility off his plate, where now Brad can focus on general manager things and maybe Chris can focus on scouting? Maybe Brad needed some help. But y'all know, listen, I am not anti-Brad. I don't know if I'm I'm like neutral Brad. At this point, I would love to see these guys succeed. But if I had to choose between Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, 10 out of 10 times I'm taking Dan Campbell. And I know Dan has his flaws, but 10 out of 10 times I'm taking Dan Campbell because I think that another general manager can come in here and finish what Holmes and Campbell have started. I think it's going to be hard to replace. It's going to be much harder to replace Dan Campbell when you got a guy, a former player that people are willing to play for, or in the rookie case of Ahmed Hassanin, willing to die for. You got to keep that guy at least for a little while longer. So I think that Dan is more valuable than Brad. However, I don't think that Brad is lost. Like he's beyond redemption. And yes, Brad Holmes needs they all need redemption, but Brad's level of redemption is on a different level to me than Dan Campbell. So why was Chris Grier brought in? I don't know. It's not the best look to bring in okay, we were talking about Mike McDaniels. He was fired, right? But Chris Grier hired him. So it's not the best look to bring in a fired general manager who has been really bad over the last couple of years. Like this was the same guy that traded Jalen Phillips, the same guy. So, but trading might be why he's brought in. But here's what I want to know. What does that mean for Brad Holmes? Not him getting fired or anything like that. Does that mean that Brad is, what does it mean? That's the question that I have. Why is he here? What does it serve? What purpose does it? If he's taking pressure or responsibility in some capacity from Brad Holmes, does that mean that Brad is starting to slip a little bit? I mean, here it is that we traded up for Kendrick Law. And I get it. Kendrick Law is a 5th round pick. People like, oh, he was going to be battling for wide receiver 5 or 6. Listen, when you traded up for Broderick Martin, I'm sorry, but you have lost a lot of credibility to me, especially in a year that we wind up going to the game before the Super Bowl. And any other player would have been more valuable than Broderick Martin, who currently is not in the NFL. And I look, I predicted that Broderick Martin would be in the UFL in 3 years. And he's probably going to wind up there and join Isaiah Buggs. Maybe they can reunite on the same team. So what does this mean? I'm not I'm not a fan of it. I am more curious than anything else as to why the man is even here in the first place. So I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Why is Chris Grier, a general manager who just got fired, which we have kind of a lot of those people, kind of. We got, or not necessarily fired, but we got like vagabonds looking for homes. You know what I'm saying? Mike Kafka was kind of put out on the street after Brian Dable was fired. Speaking of Brian Dable, I wonder where he's at right now. But anyway, so am I excited about it? No, I'm not. I'm more curious to know why he's here than anything else. All right, let me see. Okay, Pierce, did you say what you needed to say, bro? What up, what? What's good with you, bro? Let me, okay. He's here for 2 third-round. Dang. Dang. Hey, he a diversity hire? Dang. Yo, wait, isn't it something, bro? Isn't it something? Look, that you need permission to say that? Listen, it's very obvious in the NFL that they got a problem. They had to change the language of the whole Rooney Rule. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, look, you ain't saying nothing that ain't possibly true. That'd be diabolical, but, you know, was that why Aaron Glenn was hired too? I'm just saying. I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple years he kicked out in the street. So, yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy, bro. A shout out to C. Pool with the super chat says, Grier is referred to as a brass figurehead in the defamatory lawsuit by Flores. I thought integrity was important. Look, I don't even know what that means, but I forgot all about that. I forgot all about the lawsuit, even though I just read something about it a couple days ago that Brian Flores is not backing down, man. He is not backing down. Derek, I didn't want to be that guy, but hey, listen. Hey, Pierce, here's the deal, bro. Oh, he's on the Titans? Okay. All right, appreciate that, B. All right, look. Here's the deal. Race is still a thing. Like, and if you are of the African American, you know, if you're one of us, you're probably going to experience those challenges more than others. You know, if you're a minority, you're going to experience stuff. So it's not that like we don't throw it in your face, but it still exists. You know what I'm saying? So people be trying to act like it don't. It does. I mean, sometimes I wonder if it, you know, if it's a thing with me. You know what I mean? You'll never see me nowhere. I'm just saying. You know, I ain't never nowhere. But at the same time, I see a lot of people. When I go out into the world to games, 95% of the people that holler at me don't look like me. I've had about 4 to 5 people that share my same skin complexion that come up to me at the stadium. 95%, it is people who don't look like me. So, you know, but it's a real thing, Pierce. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to talk about it every day, but it's a real thing. I mean, it's literally and it's so bad that they had to change the language of the Rooney Rule, like diversity hire or something. They had to change it to something else to like appeal to more or something they did. So, I mean, it's there, bro. You know what I mean? We can't act like we can pretend if you want to, but it's there. Let me see. All right, let me see. Jay Smooth, what up, though? Will says I'm blocking that guy. All right. Dan Campbell looks like someone told him no more caffeine. What up, Ned? What's good with you, bro? My other main theory is Grier gave Dan a choice in Miami, and he's returning the favor. Hey, you know what? That it could be one of them things, too. I think I've heard that as well. But I tell you what, and we'll get into the press conference of Dan Campbell, which is why we're here. This is why I wanted to get on today. Plus, it's Friday. Is we are in this, like, the Lions are in a really sticky place. A lot of people try to act like it's not a thing, but it is. The Detroit Lions are in a very sticky place. You're talking about year 6. Here it is that we have 2 OCs on our staff, like 2 legitimate OCs. Both of these guys were OCs last year. Drew Petzing, Mike Kafka. We brought in essentially a second general manager, right? This guy used to be a general manager. He literally was just fired within the last 2 or 3 months. What is going on here? Have the Detroit Lions reached desperation in a certain regard? Because we know they ain't reached it with the players. We know that. They have not reached it with the players. And okay. I'm gonna deviate a little bit from football, and it's curious that I kind of a reason as to why I think that not only I would never be credentialed, but why I don't want to be credentialed. When I tell you it's a thing, it's a thing. So I've been watching the NBA, which led to me watching the WNBA, and when the Detroit gets a team, I don't know what they're going to be called yet, but they're going to play at LCA. So my thought is that they will be co-owned or partly owned by the Detroit Pistons. I'm hoping it's the Shock again. That'd be great. The Houston Comets are coming back, and I think they're one of the original WNBA teams. The Shock didn't start the WNBA, but I think they came a little bit later. But my point is that if you guys are familiar with the WNBA or heard anything, you know about the WNBA has just been picking up some steam with the arrival of Caitlin Clark. And now she's kind of going through it in year 3 for her, I believe it is. So her, Angel Reese, all that stuff. So a credentialed media person had his press pass revoked. I guess I didn't read the entire story, but he had it was some stuff going on with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever in the past week. And a guy had his press pass revoked. They did it through email. They took his press. So it's like, that's what's happening today is you can't really, teams are with this new kind of new media is you got to be very careful. And I get why people glaze the Detroit Lions. I understand why they do it. I won't lower myself to those standards. I'm not saying that the press guy did. He was doing his job. And I think that there's a lot of guys in our Detroit Lions media room that do their job as well. One of my favorites is John. I think John is one of us, essentially. Dave Burkett. I know a lot of people might not stand Dave Burkett, but Dave Burkett, man, he is a guy that will ask the tough questions. And I think that that's where we are with the Detroit Lions is, I'm going to tell you what, I was watching Rich Eisen today, and Rich Eisen was very high the past couple of seasons. He's been very high on the Detroit Lions. They did a segment today, what's more likely? And in that segment was what's more likely that I forgot what it was. It was something about the playoffs. Like, will the Patriots or Seahawks repeat or get back to the Super Bowl, or will a team that didn't make the playoffs make the Super Bowl? And before, Rich would have been Detroit. He had the Detroit Lions as the NFC Super Bowl contenders, Super Bowl representatives last year. And Rich has always kind of been on the fence about the Detroit Lions, but I think he stuck his head out. He stuck his neck out, and he got it chopped off last year. So people are pumping the brakes on the Detroit Lions, and they should. They should. I don't know. See, I'm not just here to collect AdSense. I'm not just here because I want to be. I'm here to tell you the truth, man. And this team, something is off about this team. With that being said, that is going to be how we segue into Dan Campbell's press conference. Fresh and Fly in the building. What up, though? Says Sheila got tired of Brad's almost getting done deals, so she hired someone to help him. Also, we got 2 OCs, 2 GMs, but no extra help for the defense. LOL. You know what, bro? I'm not in disagreement with that. I think Sheila probably deserves a lot more credit than she actually gets. I truly believe that. With that being the case, Here is Dan Campbell's press conference, and I don't want to spend an hour dissecting this thing. It's only a couple points that I really want to talk about, and one of them is I just need one thing from the Detroit Lions, okay? I need whoever is in charge at Allen Park of the Detroit Lions live stream, okay? We already been begging for good audio, so find a way to do that. Other organizations have no problem with their audio. But I'm going to need y'all to be on time. If y'all start the live stream like you usually do, and if you see Coach, as soon as he come around the podium, hit the button, switch the scene. We missed the entire conversation about Kendrick Law being out. I'm like, no wonder nobody, it was all the beat writers, everybody that was there had to put it out because they didn't start in time. And there was no intro, no build up. Boom, it was there. So anyway, why not JSN or South? William says, bro, listen, maybe Chris Greer was the hire to give our defense some help. Something is off. Please elaborate because I'm curious. Saint, don't you worry your little head, bro. I got you. We here. All right, let's get into it.
You know, it's part of it, and it's harsh reality. But
so right now he's talking about Kendrick Law, but the live stream had already started. It had already started.
He'll get it out of the way early, have his whole career in front of him. But that was I hate to start with that. It's a bit of a negative, but. Everybody else, we're doing good. Everybody else is improving, like we talked about. There'll be a lot of guys that won't be out there today. We're not doing much. It'll be a 2-spot walkthrough. We'll have a special team, some individual. We'll be on and off the grass pretty quick. We've gotten 2 good days of work in up to this point. Guys are working hard. They're still training hard with that crew, which is important. It is the most important thing in the off season. And then, man, we're getting better at the little things that you can without pads on. So that's good. I like where the guys are at. That's it. Questions?
All right. So to address and set the stage for, I ain't saying that something is off. Please elaborate because I'm curious. I said in my video that something feels a little off with this team, and I've been saying it for the past 6 months. Something is off about this team. And I think that we got clarification as the season ended. So you guys know what a red herring is, right? So a red herring is something that they put in, mystery whodunit movies. And if you're like, I'm a huge whodunit buff, and maybe that's why I'm pretty good at this. I'm a huge whodunit buff, where sometimes I can figure out things. One of my favorite whodunits is probably Knives Out. And then so excuse me. When you have a red herring, you have they want you to obviously think this is the person. Everything is pointing to this person. It's so out of control nowadays that you already know that this fool is a giant red herring, And I feel like there's been a lot of things that if you've paid attention to, that you've been able to notice. Like if you've been locked into this team like I have up until this season or this offseason, there are things that you're noticing, right? Who was talking about the pass rush when nobody else was? Who was talking about the pass rush when it was not cool to talk about the pass rush, right? Who was being critical of the team when it wasn't cool to be critical of the team? And now everybody want to catch up. Numbers suck. Even goofy, I almost called them goofy dudes on the thumbnail. That ain't my bad, even though I said it out loud. Even clickbaits on the thumbnail, their numbers have gone down. You know why? Because people ain't falling for the red herrings no more. The entire attitude of this team has changed. We not the up and come. Nobody's talking about us anymore. I guarantee that we are nobody's Super Bowl favorites in 2026. After 2023 and 2024 and the gigantic 2025 letdown, nobody is talking about the Detroit Lions, and maybe it's a good thing. But Dan Campbell, he's the one that came out at the end of the press conference season ending and said, evolve. Then Brad said it. Then Sheila said it. Dan Campbell's attitude has been one way since the press conference, which is no nonsense. And it led into the schedule release. No big production, no huge nothing. It was him walking out of his office, and he put it on a bulletin board, as in bulletin board material, right? Nobody's talking about us anymore. We know that's how these dudes like it. But here's where I'm at. And this is where that red herring whodunit kind of, I'm not a huge coincidence guy. I've been saying this for a while. I don't think that the Brad and Dan connection is as strong as it was. I just don't. I don't believe it. Even if they came out and they said they don't. How many times have we heard this person's not going to be traded and then they get traded? You know what I'm saying? How many times have we heard that a couple was fine and they get a divorce? This, I'm not calling them a couple. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to use a metaphor here, illustration. Things are not as they seem. And I now see a world, okay, where Dan Campbell is still the coach of the Detroit Lions. Brad Holmes is looking for a job somewhere. There's a new general manager that comes in here. I don't think it's Chris Greer. He comes in here and he finishes the job. But I think that all the signs are there. So when you ask me the question of something is off, that's what I mean. And with that being, I'm preparing you for what's coming from Dan Campbell. Not only is it a bunch of no nonsense, I think it's a little bit of irritation as well. He not just irritated at the questions being thrown his way. He irritated at how things are being handled. That's what I believe. And I think at the end of the day, Sheila's gonna side with one person. That's what I think is gonna happen.
How much more critical is your eye becoming watching these guys out there?
Say that again.
How much more critical is your eye becoming watching these guys out there?
I think it's just
William, that's a fair point, bro. But I will listen, man. You know I appreciate you. All the super chats, all the support, all the comments, the emails. But you got to be realistic, brother. Sometimes I think you're a little too Kool-Aid. Like that's why this show is called Spike Kool-Aid, because it's something in my Kool-Aid. It ain't just Kool-Aid, bro. It ain't just Honolulu blue Kool-Aid. That's a fair point. Nobody was talking about Seattle. But at the same time, my brother, you know, I see. To me, there's no gray. There's no like that. To me, that's coping. That's coping, right? That's coping. Seattle did things to get better. They signed DeMarcus Lawrence. They had one of the best receivers in the National Football League. They had a team built enough. They also had the number one defense, bro. The Lions are not going to have that. Like everyone, nobody in this chat feels that the Detroit Lions are going to have a number one defense. We have never had a number one defense as long as I can remember. Even when we were good with Steven Tulloch and Ndamukong Suh, we were never better than 3. Like, I get it, and that's a fair point. But I also feel that the Kool-Aid, the force is strong with you, my brother. And not just you, everybody, a lot of people. And that's okay, I get it. Some people it will always be glass half full. That you will always see the positive. And that's okay. That is not who I am. It's not who I am, bro. You know, I am more of a realistic person than a Kool-Aid drinker. I was the president of the SOL Club. You would have never seen me with season tickets. I wasn't giving this team a dime of my money. It wasn't until Sheila started to turn this team around. So that's a fair point, my friend, that nobody thought the Patriots, but nobody thought that we were going to the NFC Championship game in 2023. Not you, not me, not anybody that covers the NFL landscape. 0 people thought that. On top of that, it is on Rich Eisen today. They said that 6 teams that made the playoffs in 2025 or 4 did not make them in 2025. The Chiefs and the Lions were two of those teams. And I think for me, and this is what really grinds my gears about when people, the glass half full of people. I can't talk for some reason today. This is what grinds my gears. We are all going to die at some point, and we have we have no Super Bowls. Like what every other team in the National Football Conference has appeared in a Super Bowl. Well, the Lions were good in 1957. TVs weren't even in color. Black people had to use colored bathrooms. Like, what are we talking about, bro? And this is not an attack on Will. I'm over Will. I'm talking to everybody now. We are in a whole different stratosphere. The closest team to us is the Cleveland Browns. Look at the entire NFL, the whole thing. Do you know how despicable it is that it's the Detroit Lions, an expansion Cleveland Browns team, an expansion Jacksonville Jaguars team, and an expansion Houston Texans team? That we are in the same category with them. That is disgusting to me. That is why I will always, until we win a Super Bowl and I have a reason to look at the glass half full, I will continue to look at it half empty. Because there are 31 other teams that are trying to be better than the other. 31. And we act like it's just us. We went from first in the division to last. And it was more than us losing Ben Johnson. It was much more than that. It was the personnel. It was the personnel. Myles Garrett made the Rams a better team. If, and I hope he does come out of retirement, Aaron Donald comes out of retirement, the Rams are an even better team. I don't care that this dude been out the league for 2 years. No, he gonna come up and pick up right where he left off. Maybe a smidge lower. So this is not an attack on Will. Will's my guy. I'm saying, well, Will.I.am is my guy. That other one. Anyway, we have to stop this. We have to stop this. Every year that the Lions lack a Super Bowl appearance and or win, we should grow increasingly more impatient every single year because you have lost 365 days of your life force. That is why I woke up today and I looked at the date. I said, dog, it's June the 5th. We are 1 week away from having nothing to talk about. We are 1 week away from that. 1 week. Mid-June, kids got out of school. We ain't talking. And I'm like, dog, are you kidding? It's been 5 months since we've played a game. We'll be back in about 2. I'm like, oh my God. NBA is keeping me occupied. The WNBA is keeping me occupied. Life is keeping me occupied. So no, bro. Like I can't do that, man. I can't do that. I cannot do that. So, and this everybody has their own way that they view and they fan, bro. And each person should feel that way, right? Each person should have their own way, whatever. But for me, Will, I cannot do that, bro. I cannot do that because my son is turning 17. I am turning 47 years old. I will be 57 and then 67. And then eventually I'm turning into dust. And I want to see the Detroit Pistons win a Super Bowl before that time comes. Just like the Tigers. The Tigers have been to 2 World Series since they won the one in 84. The Pistons, right? The Red Wings are a debacle, but they was there and they was good. They were really, really good, man. Them 1990 Red Wings teams was good. So I don't think it's too much to ask, Will, for our team to be demanding, our fan base to be demanding, that we should demand a fantastic product all the time because you cannot. The NFL is about being better than the other team, right? Like you have to get better. You cannot keep doing the same thing.
I mean, that you're looking for, you don't want repeat offenders, right? I mean, I think that's the big thing there again. What are we trying to get out of it? I mentioned it last week, man. It's the mental, it's the processing speed. Doesn't mean the finish, the violence. That'll come.
Hey, Pistons,
so then we just need to
Lions, Tigers. Y'all know what I meant, bro. Why y'all gotta be correct? You know what I'm talking about. You know how many words I say? God, I did that. You know what I'm talking about. You know what? Before I was a creator, I would have been just like you. I would have been just like, you said you messed up on this word. Okay, all right. You knew what I meant. You have a brain, right? So you could put together, you can use context. You ever seen one of the YouTube videos where people leave out the word or they say the word, not the color, or say the color, not the word? Come on, man. Y'all knew what I meant. You knew. I don't understand why you have to point out every single thing. Goodness, I love y'all, man, but Lord have mercy. You knew what I meant. I said Pistons. Oh, he meant Lions. It's no big deal. Okay. God.
Can this player learn from that mistake? All right, they've been coached. Are they making the same mistake again? Okay, they learned from that now. They're figuring it out, but can they process it faster? It's almost the identical look, whatever the call was and however the offense, defense moves, the coverage, the rotation, the fast motion, man, can I pick those things up like this? That's what you're looking for because, I mean, this is that will have a bearing on us going into training camp, because that'll start setting the chart a little bit of how we begin in pads and letting those guys go. So there's some guys that really, are doing a good job with that, and then there's guys that aren't.
The big news in the NFL this week was the Myles Garrett trade. Just what was your first reaction to that?
Yeah, I mean, good for them. I mean, they've won it now, right? I mean, so, yeah, I had none. I mean, he's a hell of a player versus hell of a player, and they're two totally different players. But, that was what they felt like they needed to do, and good for them, man.
Quick follow-up, past 9 months, obviously we've seen him, Micah Parsons, Max Crosby, even though that trade was rescinded, get dealt. Just some of the biggest names, at that position are really in football on defense. What do you guys build, a different way, draft, develop, resign, but what do you think it would take for you guys to, what would need to happen for you guys to be in the high-end trade market like that?
Well, I guess I would tell you when that time happens.
Yo. Okay. All right, so look. When Dan Campbell start tapping the side of the podium, it's about to get lit. Dan Campbell. So, what did y'all take from that? I saw it as a couple different things. It's a couple different things. Yeah, I saw it as a couple different things. To have no reaction, that's cap. That's cap. Look, he doing what he's supposed to do. But you know what, y'all? I'm gonna keep it real. I was wondering. I was saying, I was just like, I wonder what doing stuff like that feels like. I'm not gonna lie. I was wondering what it feels like. Like I went down a whole different, it was almost like I was carried away in some type of euphoric state when I heard that Myles Garrett was traded to LA Rams. The first thing that mentally happened to me is it clicked for me. I understood Matthew Stafford. So much so that I almost was ready to move past him leaving. Because I'm like, that's why you left. Even though you knew nothing about Dan Campbell or Brad Holmes, that's why you left. I get it now. It was like, y'all ever seen Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Old movie. And at the very end of the movie, something happens during the movie that the older brother says to the younger brother, French class, kid, French class. So all the way at the end of the movie, the younger brother said, like, as the movie is ending, says, oh, I get it, French class. I'm not going to tell you what it was about, but, you know. That's what happened to me with the Myles Garrett trade. I said, I get it now. I get it. So I was like, it's beautiful in California. It's expensive, but it's beautiful. The Rams are legit. The Rams are legit. And I realized that, like, I think the Myles Garrett trade might have kind of broken me a bit. It might have broken me a bit when it comes to this fan base. Because I'm like, y'all need to stop. You have to stop. If you try to defend your team, you are coping. That's what you're doing. You are coping. You are coping. Did you hear the Jarrett verse? Any part of his press conference? He said, I'm not gonna lie, I was feeling some type of way. I was feeling some type of way. I was upset. Yeah, dog. Thank you. You should be. You went to the doo-doo Browns. You should be able to come on and say that. But I saw, and then did y'all see the pictures of Les Snead and Sean McVay looked like the Joker. He looked like, y'all ever seen Batman? Love that Joker. Joker had this spoiler alert. He had these chemicals that were disguised as makeup, and they were making people smile and killing them. All you needed to put is the love that Joker filter on Sean McVay. I'm like, I get it, dog. I understood. We sitting here miserable as Lions fans. Miserable. The headline, I mean, look what it took for us not to sign Marcus Davenport a third time. Look what it took. You know how we evolved, ladies and gentlemen, by not doing that. By letting Josh Pascal go. Like, that's how we evolved. After you sit down and you look and you see exactly what the Rams did and all of this while having no first round picks, you can't defend your team anymore. You just can't. You got to call it what it is. So Dan Campbell, like, they've won it now, right? He like, dog, that could have been us. Now, yeah, they got to go out and win the thing, but come on, y'all. The Rams have, hey, I'm going to say something controversial. Okay? Maybe you agree. Maybe you don't. The LA Rams have been a better team than the Detroit Lions since the trade. All 5 years. All 5 years, bro. Even the year that Stafford got hurt, the Rams have been a better team than the Detroit Lions. I'm controversial. But Derek become a Rams fan. Yeah. I don't know. It did kind of bulletin board across my mind. I was like, dog, I'm telling you, man, this team is slowly breaking me, bro. Like some spaghetti before you boil it. They are breaking me. I'm going to keep it a buck. I just was like, for one moment, I stepped out of my body and was like, oh, that's what it feels like to do something like this. Oh, wow. Wow. That's what it feels like. So anyway, I said that this breakdown wasn't going to be an hour, and it's not. But this from NFC Championship game to now has slowly been like warping me, man, because I'm watching and we just sit here. Do you know what it took for us to trade and finally take an edge rusher? Like, think about that. We finally took an edge rusher. But Dan Campbell, I mean, every so often, and Dan Campbell is emotion on the sleeve guy, but every so often, I would like to see my general manager and or coach be brutally honest, like, yo, that's a heck of a move, man. That's a heck of a move. And you know, I'm not trying to, he don't have to dog his team, but hey, even something as simple as, hey, they They stacked. But, as a coach, I understand he's got a lead. He can't put any doubt in his player's mind. I get that. But it ain't no way that Dan Campbell was just like, hey, man, hey, good for them, man. Hey, there's no way. He probably was like, look, he probably was, and Brad was. He came from that organization. He was part of it when they traded up for Goff. Just one time, I would like to know what that feels like. Dog, do you understand what we're talking about here? We're talking about a dude who's going on a decade in the league. He's approaching 30 or about to, and he shook the entire NFL. And he didn't go to a scrub team. He went to a team that has been in Super Bowl contention for years. He went to a team that does not take their foot off the gas. And that's what the Lions did. And y'all know I'm not lying. You see what I did? The Rams never take their foot off the gas. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I love the daredevil in Les Snead. I love it, bro. I can't be mad if we try some, especially for my team who has 0 Super Bowl wins. Y'all ever thought about that? The Super Bowl been around for 60 years. Do you know that the Steelers have 10% of the Super Bowl wins? 10%. One NFL team has 10% of the Super Bowl wins. The Dallas Cowboys got a percentage. The San Francisco 49, these are repeat people. Think about this. I'm cooking right now, bro. Think about it. These are teams that didn't just do it not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, these are teams that didn't do it just one time. They did it multiple times. And we're scratching, clawing to get there. To get there. Not even win the darn thing. Get there. When you look at it like that, when you strip all of this stuff away, it's bare bones, bro. Les Snead, they go up, they on the Autobahn, swerving, driving. I don't even know if they got an Autobahn in California, but they done made one. You know what we on the road doing? We on the road doing 25 miles an hour on the street that got speed humps on it in Detroit. Y'all ever seen a speed hump, bro? If you try to go 26 miles over a speed hump, you gonna Dukes a hazard. Speed humps ain't no joke. They about 5 or 6 feet wide. And they no joke. You value the bottom of your car, not the ones that they install with the little in the winter. I'm talking about the permanent boys. We doing 25 on a school street with speed humps on it. Speed humps, if you think about speeding up, it's a speed hump. Like, that's what we're doing. And it gets old, bro. It gets old. Why do we fall? So we can learn to pick ourselves up. Hey, Detroit Lions, you falling anyway, bro. Why don't you fall trying to do something? What's the phrase? Stand for something or fall for anything? I mean, come on, dog. I'm just, and maybe it will work. Maybe we'll get there doing it this exact way. But the Rams understand the value of what they're doing. And I think I know what ruined this team. I didn't mean to go down this, but I think I know what happened. I think I know what. Dan, I can't say that Dan was part of this. Maybe he was. But Brad Holmes put the carriage before the horse. Brad Holmes was thinking dynasty. And you can't think like that. You got to take 1 year, maybe 2 years. You can have a plan that spans multiple years, but you can't be thinking dynasty, bro. Without you can't be doing that. You can't do that. Tom Brady took less money to make sure they kept a dynasty, right? You can't be thinking dynasty before. You can't do that. And I think that's what happened. And I think it started, I think Brad's, it's been like that. We know that the Myles Garrett doesn't guarantee the Rams winning a Super Bowl. They have a 1 in 32 chance, just like everybody else. Or 1 in 31 or 2, whatever it is. But the goal is to be that one team. and do whatever it takes to be that one team, which means you have to be better than all 31 teams. This ain't the WNBA. They got 15 teams in the WNBA. 15. And it's just getting more competitive. I watch the WNBA every day. No cap. Ain't nothing wrong with that. No cap. And it's some really bad teams. Phoenix Mercury, bad. I don't say Charlie Murphy. Phoenix Mercury, bad. Bad. They're a bad team. Okay, it's some other teams. The Seattle Storm, bad team. It's a lot of bad teams, bro. Some I can't even think of right now. Then you got the Minnesota Lynx. They're fun to watch. My favorite team is low-key the Valkyrie. Them ladies out there balling. Then I think the most fun team to watch is the Valkyrie. Then it would be probably the Lynx. Then I'm going to say I like some players on Aaliyah Boston, a baller. You know what I'm saying? On the Indy NF Fever. It ain't about Caitlin. I like the Dream, but I think they got some work to do, right? But I think I like the way the ladies, and you know who what's the other team? It's a team that's low key. What's the team, man? It's a team that low key I like the Toronto Tempo. Oh, the Portland Fire, the expansion team. These vagabond ladies playing together, and I'm kind of watching them too. So look, I'm just like I think I've come to the point of we just got to stop with the excuses. Like we got to stop. You know what I'm saying? The same way we give them credit, we got to give them criticism as well. So, I mean, Dan Campbell, he did what he had to do. He said what he had to say, but yeah. Okay, let's get through this.
Ideal workload for Jahmyr Gibbs next season? How much of the pie do you want him to have in the ground game?
Well, Gibbs is, I mean, he's going to be our bell cow now. He really became more of that last year. And, but we're going to hang our hat on him quite a bit. We're going to do a lot of things we feel like he does well. Now, I've mentioned this before. He can run everything that we've got. He can run every scheme that anybody's ever run. He's not just an outside runner. He's not just a space runner. He can create his own space in the middle. And some of his biggest runs have been gap scheme right down the pipe, where he's had patience and found it and guys blocked it up well. So we're going to ask a lot of him, just like we do Saint. We ask a lot of Saint. We're going to ask a lot of J-Mo. We're going to ask a lot of Laporta. We're going to ask a lot of Pacheco. We're going to ask there's a ton of guys. I also a lot of Sewell. So, but we expect him to have a big year for us. We're going to put a lot on his plate in the run and pass game.
I know we've asked you a ton going back to last year through the combine.
I don't feel it, y'all. I don't feel it. Maybe we'll see it during the season. I just don't see that same energy from Campbell is not there. It's just maybe he's tired. Maybe that's what it is. He's just tired. He wants to get back to business. He did mention going back to 2021. I just don't see it, bro. I don't see the same Dan Campbell.
Beings, all that, but with Kirby, it's a little bit different than maybe ACL or Achilles, where you've got like this very clear timeline and a lot of data to work from. Just based on what you know through the process he's taken this offseason, whatever specialist he might see, what is your confidence level that you're going to be able to get, Kirby Joseph, what you expect out of him this season?
Yeah, really, I don't know. I honestly do not know. I know this.
That's right there is, and I love Dan Campbell for that. You don't know. You don't know. And y'all think we going to the Super Bowl. Our best safety, he doesn't know. And I'm going to tell you what. There are things that make sense, right? Dan Campbell has been saying this for almost a year, like real talk. When Kirby left and we didn't even know what was going on. We didn't know what had happened to him. We didn't know. Dan Campbell, he wasn't put on IR. Then it took a little, then he was, I don't even remember. But he just kept saying he's a little bit off. He's a little bit off. And then the season ended. And you don't know. You don't know. I mean, I love the honesty, and I'm glad he didn't lie. I'm not saying do that. But I'm just saying, what does that mean for Kirby Joseph? They were talking about like he might not ever play again, like during the season and the off season. We were talking about the man might not even play again. Apparently, he's got a knee issue that, like, maybe it's like Todd Gurley. I don't know. Todd, I mean, right, but and this is no one's fault. Like, you know what I'm saying? You could argue and say they paid him too early. I mean, that's a valid argument. But this is no one's fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kendrick Law tearing his ACL. Not necessarily anybody's fault. You could blame the turf. You could blame the health and conditioner. You can blame Brad Holmes for trading up. Like I said, man, I got PTSD from trade ups with Brad Holmes. I got I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Actually, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. You cannot trade up for Roger Money. You just can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. And then you trade it up for a dude again. I don't care where you did. And he gets hurt. Like, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know. You have no answer. You have no answer, which means, I don't know. Is Kirby going to start the season? I don't know. Who knows? Let alone be his old self.
Done everything we can do, and he's done everything he can do to this point, and we are trying to be as smart as we can and not push this until we absolutely have to, because once we've done that, then we'll know one way or another. And it's not worth it right now. We're just slowly building, continuing the strength in there. He's getting treatment. He's done some of these different things at different places to try to help. So I feel good about that. I feel good about that we've done everything we can, and so is he. And so we won't know. I mean, honestly, we probably won't know until we get into the thick of training camp.
There's a lot of
Yo, that is diabolical. You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like, why the long face? Didn't you expect it? When you open the door, the show goes on. Kirby might be done. That sounds to me like Brad Holmes. Hey, we tried everything. I feel good about that. You know how you just concede defeat? You're like, I feel good. We've done all we could. And we can't do no more after that. Throw the towels. Throw the towel. It sounds like Dan Campbell's throwing the towel. We don't know. We're not going to know. And this is nobody's fault. I'm just saying, like, that's why, ladies and gentlemen, you have to capitalize on the opportunities you have. You don't get the opportunity the Lions had in 2023 all the time. You don't get it. And I get Danielle Hunter had a choice. I don't know why he had a choice, but they gave him a choice. Well, maybe because he was a veteran. You know what I'm saying? I think they drafted him right. So they respected his decision. But this is a business, bro. Jared Verse said it's a business. He said, I hate it. I was upset, but I understand the business. It's a business, bro. And that's it. You know what this looks like to me? And it's crazy. It's crazy because Lions fans, and I love this about us. I do. I love this. This team represents my city. I was born here, right? Not saying anything about you, but I was born here. When something happens in Detroit, we win. They're not going to tear up California. I don't think they tear up Detroit. I mean, it's going to be wild, but I have to deal with the aftermath of that, right? If you don't live in Detroit, you don't have to deal with that. That's why it was so painful when Stafford left. But you got to have, if you got to make a move, bro. You have to be willing in the moment to do something that can take you all the way, because you might not get that chance. What did Dan Campbell say after we lost? We might not be here again. And yeah, he was talking about those players, but underneath he was talking about, yo, this ain't easy. It's not easy, especially if you us. If you the 49ers, you can get there whenever you feel like it. Even when you're having a bad season, you're there. How the 49ers, maybe we can pull a 49er. Maybe we can pull a 49ers, bro. They was cheeks when we beat them in 2024. That's funny to me. They put us out the playoffs. We played them less than a year later, and they were cheeks. They didn't even make the playoffs. I think they were, what were the Niners? 7-10, 6-11, something like that, and then picked up right where they left off. Maybe that's us. Y'all feel like, I don't feel like that's gonna be us. I don't know, man. You got to be willing. You got to be willing to do whatever it takes. And the Lions are not that team.
See plans you've added to the roster, just veterans, experienced veterans. We saw Christian Izien kind of taking some of those free safety snaps in that last practice we were at. Just what do you like about maybe his skill set that far away from the ball?
Well,
all right. So Jay, look, I'm gonna say this, and I meant to say this earlier. I appreciate that, but can I say something, bro? And this ain't directed towards you. You should feel that way. Like you should feel we can breathe because any given Sunday, right? But let me just say that our wins against the Rams have been by a total of what? Of 6 points, if I'm not mistaken. Think about this, bro. We beat the Rams twice. This was the first time Matthew Stafford actually beat Jared Goff in a Ram uniform. And it was not close. But we squeaked by them in overtime. I mean, by 1 point, which took all of Michael Batchley to make that happen. 1 point. Puka Kool was roasting the defense. Then you fast forward to when we opened the season against them or whatever it was. The game went to overtime, and we won. Yes, we can beat the Rams. Even with Myles Garrett, we can beat the Rams. But Myles Garrett made it harder. and we haven't, like, the Rams beat us. We kind of beat them. Like, it took us a walk-off field goal by 1 point. And I think the Rams still had like a little chance to win that game at the end of that game. And then the overtime win. I don't know, bro. Like, I think we can beat the Rams too. But I picked the Rams last season. I'm going to pick the Rams this season to win. I'm definitely going to pick them to win. And if they saw us in the playoffs, I would pick them to win. Everybody knew that Seattle was going to win that game. And they took Seattle down to the wire. And nobody thought the Patriots was going to win that game. And it was exactly what we thought. It wasn't even, I didn't watch the Super Bowl, and I'm glad I didn't. But I feel you, bro, and you should feel like that. And ain't nothing wrong with that. I can't. I'm gonna have to keep it a bug, bro. I don't think the only team I'm not gonna pick is the Bears ever. I don't care what our team looks like. I would never pick the Bears. I will be completely biased against the Bears. And Ben Johnson is a sucker, bro. You know what I think about Ben Johnson? I know I'm off topic, but Ben Johnson, we thought we was getting, we didn't see the real Ben Johnson. The real Ben Johnson is the Bears head coach. The coordinator for the Detroit Lions was like, Ben Johnson was their guy, was like, hey there, pretty lady. Yes, I have a job. I've been working that job for 15 years. I'm the head brother in charge. I have a 401k and I've got pretty good medical insurance. Y'all go on a date. Things happen. And he like, girl, I don't work nowhere. I don't work nowhere. I rented that car. You thought, I made all that stuff up. I don't got insurance. By the way, can you spare some change? I need to turn that car back in. Ben Johnson is a sucker. And we got the fake version of Ben. We got the Ben that wanted to get a coaching job. And now he got one. Soon he have to take his talents to Indiana. That's going to be fun. Anyway.
You know, there again, I mentioned this when we got him. I like Izzy a lot. You know, you play against him. You know, he's a pretty headsy player. He's pretty violent. See ball, hit ball. He hasn't done a ton on the back end with depth. And so those are things we're working through. But I feel like those are things he can do. But there again, we won't know until we get into it in real time. But I know he's got some football player to him. And I really like that group. You know, I really like that group.
Lightning bolt, I don't get the last part. But yeah, I get that. I get that. That still doesn't explain the reason that the Lions don't make any significant moves. So, but yeah, I mean, it's 100% injury rate. So, but the fan base part, I don't quite get that.
You know, when you talk about going in to training camp. Chuck Clark, Maddox, Izzy. There's a ton of guys back.
I mean, Kelly, you know I ain't lying. You know I ain't lying. Hey there, how you doing? They got the suit on. You know what I'm saying? Look, that's Ben Johnson got what he wanted, and he like, hey, I'm the captain now. Y'all see what he did to that reporter? Like, dog, I would have been like, who are you? I would have been, hey, shout out to the dude that was like, that was me. It won't happen again. I knew something was weird about this guy. I knew something was off about him, bro. It was just the way when he was talking, like his mouth was always dry. And I'll be joking, but I'll be serious about this. Like, Ben Johnson is he remind me of like what Patricia was trying to be. Like, you over here, you was laughing. You get over there, you just I believe that that's the real Ben Johnson. The Ben Johnson we got was, and you know what? It was there. It was right there, because remember, this is the guy, and I know I'm on like this tangent, but Ben Johnson is the same dude that told the Carolina Panthers he wasn't taking the job. And remember now, the Carolina Panther owner, he was feeling some type of way. Then you don't cancel what did he do? He turned down an interview or turned down the job on the plane or something like with the Washington Commanders, and they don't like him now? Bro, all of that stuff, everybody can't be saying the same thing and be wrong. But you know I ain't lying, Kelly. He was like, how you doing? He had the fake jewelry on, all of it, bro. He had all of it on.
There, that'll be competing. We got Harper back. Dan Jackson's coming off injury. Strychnine is there. So it's a pretty competitive group, and with some young players and then with some headsy veteran guys. So I feel good even knowing, okay, it's going to take Branch a minute, right? And then Kirby, we're hopeful, but I like that room. I do.
What has he done exactly?
Hold on one second.
Just to follow up on Kirby, the steps that he's gone to. I think he's posted videos of acupuncture. I don't know if there's anything else you can tell us.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into all that. Go ahead.
You guys weren't able to access the play action game as much. How important is that to get back going, and how much is that tied to the amount of deep shots that you're able to take too?
Well, we tried a lot of play action. We really did. The issue was we weren't running the ball particularly well late in the year, and so if you don't run it well, there's only so much the defense will buy. Go ask Jack Campbell about it. If you can stuff the run over and over, and then they play pass, then they're already back in coverage. So. Look, that's always going to be part of what we do. Everything here starts on the ground on offense. It will always start on the ground. That's where it begins, and then we'll go from that. Play action pass can be big for us because our players are good at it. Our quarterback is outstanding at it. Now our quarterback can sit there in the gun too and dish the ball out. And but that's just, man. You want to go deep in the playoffs, you better be able to run the freaking ball. So that's where it all begins.
Yeah, there was some news yesterday about you guys bringing in Chris Rear, some sort of personnel executive role. What's the benefit? You guys, been adding, players behind the scenes that with a lot of football knowledge and stuff, but what's the benefit of bringing in somebody with that type of knowledge? And what ways would it be helpful in ways people might not be able to see?
Yeah, well, I think this would be a better question for Brad probably. We did discuss it, obviously. But, he's got a lot of experience. I mean, he's, director of college scouting under Jeff Ireland for a number of years down there, Bill Parcells, and then became the GM, was able to kind of a holdover through a few staffs, and so, he's got experience. And Brad felt good about that. So, go ahead.
No, my bad. You talked last week about the pajamas and not hyping things up too much, and Jared agreed that it's too early to evaluate as a whole where the offense is. But what can you do right now that in September and October you can look back and say, thanks to May and thanks to June, our offense looks like this?
Well, I think what you can do this time of year is solve issues. You can create issues for one another and solve issues. And we're doing a much better job of that this time of year than we were last year, Now we're obviously it's another year in the progression here, but but I do like that part. And so even in the walkthrough sessions, just trying to simulate some of this to where your guys have to react, they have to move, they have to at least show they see what's going on. That's really the benefit of it right now. And then you get some of the individual work, the technique, you get the timing with the quarterback and the receivers. You do get to do 7-on-7 full speed, so your DBs are getting some good work. Your corners, your safeties, your nickels, your backers in coverage, so that's good. So there's things you can get out of it, and I feel like that's what we're trying to get out of it right now and trying to improve on.
You mentioned the DBs. It felt like we almost saw two versions of DJ Reed last year, like pre-injury DJ Reed and then post-injury DJ Reed. I know it's super early, but when you're watching him, are there signs you're looking forward to know that he's back to where you need him to be and where he needs to be entering the season?
Well, I think for spring, I like where he's at. I think he's moving well, and that's encouraging coming off of what he did. And I don't disagree. That's not an easy injury for a corner. I mean, that was a pretty significant hamstring he came back from, but I like the way he looks running around right now.
As you see it, what's the biggest improvement that Drew is bringing to the offense?
I think just everything being tied together. There's one voice, and then it spreads from there. We have an outstanding staff. I really believe that. I think, man, those guys across the board are really good, and so I think just having that one voice, clear communication, this is the way we want it to look, this is in the run game, the pass game, and protections. I think that just kind of helps tie it in. Any little questions, hey, if you get this, we're going to outside release it. If we get this, he's sitting at 8, go by him. Those go a long way. Just, man, and then we can always change it if we need to, but at least we're all on the same page just from the get-go. He's done a good job with that.
Defensive line, I know there obviously has to be a balance between stopping the run and rushing the passer. I know in the past you've talked about how kind of the priority is to stop the run and then transition into a pass rush. Given some of the offseason moves, is it fair to say that maybe you want to tip the scales a little bit more towards the pass rush this year? Well,
we certainly wanted to see if we can add a little bit of juice in there on the perimeter, but also in the middle. And now with that requires if you're going to add a couple of these guys that maybe their strength is a little more in the rush game, then they got to be able to hold up in the run game, or we can't get them to the game. They have to be able to hold on and do some of those things. So your niche has got to be your niche, and the other stuff you got to be able to show you can hold your own at least. You don't have to be dominant, but so that'll be things we're going to have to work through once we get into camp. But I think that's a priority. But it's still a priority when we talk about first, second down, stopping the run, and then the transition to it. Whether that's movement, you're stemming into the call at the snap, or you're trying to do some of these things just to gain a step or get an edge, so you can still stop the run, but maybe you can get upfield a little bit quicker, get in the quarterback's face.
Yeah, Dan, just talking about the offense, you guys added Luke Altmaier, and just curious early on, how's he looking in terms of picking up the offense and command of the huddle and stuff like that early on?
Yeah, he didn't lack confidence, that's for sure. He's, what we thought he would be at this point, I would say is kind of held true. And what I mean by that is, man, he's able to kind of retain the information we get him so far. Feel like he's getting a little bit better every day. Talk about the processing speed of the quarterback. He's got a lot on his plate, but he knows what the calls are. He knows where guys are supposed to be, the shifts, the motions, and that's good for a young guy. That's really good. So we'll see when it really gets going.
Thanks, Dan. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. See, I told you we would get through it. So, look, y'all. Excuse me. We are approaching the season, and don't get me wrong, man. I'm excited. I'm always excited for football to be back, and for the Detroit Lions to be back. And I'm excited to see what the season ticket experience is going to be like. I also looked at the Buffalo tickets today, and they still tripping. So, I mean, of course, it's not even July yet, but we got a solid 3 months before the season. We're even, starting the season. But they're still ridiculous. I think the cheapest ticket I saw was $5 and some change. And it's tough when you go to the NFC Championship game and it's like under $6 to see a regular season game be the same price. It's very difficult for me to. I think I paid $3 something to sit, and I was on the lower bowl. I was like 5 rows from the rail when I went to Kansas City in October. So it's very difficult. I'm gonna try my best to get there, even if it's somebody, hopefully a season ticket holder or something watches the video, or a Lions fan who watches the video knows a Buffalo season ticket holder, and we get in that way. But that's the show, y'all. It's exciting, but it's also been therapeutic as well to kind of step back from the team and reevaluate. Excuse me. I got the AC blowing right on me. Reevaluate the, like the team and stuff, man. And just realize, like, whether we like it or not, I see some changes happening in the next couple of years. And I think that the only way to prevent those changes, and nobody will know unless you ask Sheila, and Sheila was completely honest with you, and, which she probably wouldn't tell you that information. But she knows. Sheila knows what she wants. And like I've said many times before, outside of her playing a part in hiring Matt Patricia and thus firing Jim Caldwell, which eventually led to Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, she really hasn't done anything wrong to me. Like, she brought in some decent dudes. Those dudes changed the culture of this team. And so much so that SOL is, in my opinion, all but gone. I know to some people it's not, but to me, it's gone. Are the embers still there? Yeah. And I think the only way you snuff those out is with a Super Bowl. But wow. Bleacher Report says Garrett wants to learn from AD as an Aaron Donald, looking to pick Rams legends brain regardless of comeback rumors. Stop the cap right now. You don't think, bro? What up, Tyrone? What's good with you, bro? All right, as far as Terrion Arnold, I think it's too soon to label him a thug. I don't think he's done anything to call him a thug. You know what I'm saying? I think I don't know who called him a thug and why you would, but there's much more he would have to do to be even called a thug, in my opinion. So, but anyway, that's the show, y'all. I appreciate the support. Let me see. Is there any updates? Syndicats is returning real soon on a regular basis. I'm thinking preseason. And I also found out that, probably preseason will be training camp. Because preseason is training camp is before preseason. So, I think that's about it, man. I got some stuff I'm working on. It's in the early stages. It's in the very early stages of potentially that involves like a studio, but I got a lot of work to do to justify a studio. You know what I'm saying? Like, legitimately. So that'll probably be a while away. But outside of that, man, I'll be talking to an individual about a potential new syndicate, and we'll see if that works. And man, Pistons are doing some things. I think I am expecting some type of move to be made this offseason. If you haven't heard, they're talking about potentially Strus for beef stew. But I thought Strus was going to be a free agent, so I don't know how that will work. But I think that's it, man. I think that's it. I'm excited to see what kind of training camp stuff we're gonna get, and that's about it, man. That Josh Jacobs is a thug. Yeah, Josh Jacobs should have kept his hands to himself. Revolution says, I don't believe AD is coming back. Dude's body hasn't been used to football for 2 full seasons now, regardless of how in shape he is. Revolution, that is very true, okay? But I will kind of counterpoint that with this. He not gonna play a full season. And if he's here's what I see Aaron Donald do. It's a Zadarius Smith type thing, or maybe even a little less than that, where he's like, I'll wait a little bit, see how they're doing, see how I feel. see where the team is at, see how much work I would have to do, and then, you come back. You come back. Look, didn't we have like Eric Weddle when the Rams went on a Super Bowl run or something like that? Was it the Super Bowl run or after that where Eric Weddle came out of nowhere? I was watching somewhere today. They were talking about like maybe December. You know what I mean? Like, and when football matters, you know what I'm saying? So it could be as late as December. And that would give, look, let me see. You should buy an OD building in the D. Hey, Ned, I wish I could, bro. I wish I could. But you know what the thing is I want to stay close to home. So I want to do that. There's a couple places. So like if I drive past a place, I've been jotting down the numbers and calling them. And I've been, believe it or not, y'all, I've been doing this for years. I've been calling places for years. So yeah. They're talking about the Pistons going after Kawhi Leonard. I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad. Kawhi, I watched a couple of Clippers games. I wouldn't be mad. I think he would upgrade the team better than Kevin Huerter. I think Strus, with his 3-point ability and his defense, I think I don't know. He's more of a threat than Isaiah Stewart, and that's what we need, man. We got plenty of defense. We need some scoring. Donald will be a mercenary. Yeah. Kawhi just came off his best season as well. Yeah, so it doesn't bother y'all that he 34, somewhere around there? And we'll get off in 4 minutes. Or we'll get off in actually 2. So anyway, I guess that's it, man. I'm going to play the outro. And yeah, I'll keep you guys posted on what's going on. And I hope you guys are ready to enjoy your summer. It is hot today in Michigan. We got a little cloud cover. Me and my son are going to go for a walk to the corner and back, trying to get some exercise in this off season. And, we got to make sure all our ducks are in a row. Yeah, but, just another thing too, man, is my father-in-law is going through some things. So it's been a lot going on in my family and stuff like that. So, it puts everything into perspective when it comes to stuff that is not important. You know what I mean? But I'm also grateful for, I also have a kind of a I'm speaking with a guy. Next week is going to be big for the brand. I'm speaking with the dude Monday about a potential syndicate. And then Tuesday, I'm speaking with the gentleman about something that I will surprise you guys with, because I don't want to say what it is until I actually do the amount of research that I need to do before I feel comfortable backing it, if that makes sense. So, hey, Kelly, I appreciate you. I appreciate that. Yes, Ned, that's what we're about to do, because it dropped in temperature and it was dark a couple hours ago. I was supposed to be off at 5:30 and go from there. So I appreciate everybody. Kelly, stay away from them guys, all right? Them guys, the how you doing. If they say how you doing to you and they not Joey from Friends, stay away from them, all right? You guys are awesome, man. I will see you soon, man. We'll be back, and we'll be back in full effect. All right? Peace. Hey, Aaron, so I need to pause this so you can hear me. I have to go to the majority of them. So I'm going to probably sell Thanksgiving. There's a ticket. Somebody contacted me about a ticket that they would like a particular game. My wife wants to go to Tennessee, so I will be at the Tennessee game I will be at all of them, but she wants to go to Tennessee. She used to live in Tennessee, so we'll be there, but it might be 2 games that I don't make it to, and that's it. And that includes the preseason. I think we got 9, so it'd be preseason 1, and then 7 and then 6 during the season. So Thanksgiving, I'll probably sell that, and then there's one other game that I'm waiting to hear back from somebody, but all the other ones, man, I'll be there. So, yep.
and I'm pissing off the neighbors. Whether homegrown or imported, we feeling shorted, cause we waiting on our paper. So next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Yeah, you don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets, cause when you're in the Motor City, nothing is as pretty as the hustle. You don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets, cause when you're in the Motor City, everything ain't pretty but it's love though. Next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, when we get back on our feet. Yeah.
FC, what the heck is what, bro? What are you? Okay, first of all, you out of line, brother. That is from a show called The Detroiters. It ran on Comedy Central for a few years, and it was based off two guys who lived in Detroit who ran an advertising firm. So you could have kept that to yourself, my brother. I'm all about freedom of speech, but that was kind of crazy.